Hi, I'm Central Florida attorney Dione Talkington Fletcher, and today's video is all about questions to do with autos. You might say it's the auto show. So, interesting fact, many rental companies now require a renter to be 25 years of age before they will permit him or her to rent a vehicle. So do your research ahead of time and make sure the company that you chose will let you rent a car. Number 2, you need a valid driver's license. Number 3, you need insurance. So if you don't have car insurance back home or you don't own a car, then you will need to purchase the insurance that the rental company will sell you. Now, here's some legal requirements for operating the car. First of all, check the time that you rented the car. Check your contract, because if you, for example, got it from an airport, your departure time might be quite a bit later than your arrival time. And here's why that's important. It's not just about, oh, am I going to get charged for the extra day? Failing to return a rental car on time is actually a third-degree felony in the state of Florida. And some rental car companies are pretty quick to call law enforcement and report that car as stolen. So if you decide to stay another day or something changed and you need the car for several more hours, do yourself a favor, reach out to the rental company, send them an email, make a phone call to extend that rental to avoid that problem. You don't want to end your vacation on your trip or your trip with an arrest because you failed to make a phone call. Number 2, in the state of Florida, texting and driving is what's called a primary offense. So if you are caught driving while holding your cell phone, you can be stopped. If you need your phone for GPS navigation, make sure it's, in a cup holder or in some kind of holder up on the dash. You may not have it in your hand while you're driving around. Pull that up before you leave the lot. Check the vehicle for any dings because you might be asked to pay for damage when you return the car if you didn't bring it to their attention before you started. That's really pretty simple. As I mentioned before, do your quick walk around, check for damage for the vehicle before you pull off the lot. Number 2, take a photo of your fuel level. So when you return the vehicle, it needs to be at the same space or the rental company will charge you an extra special fee to fill it back up. So if you knew what it was when you took it out, make sure it's the same when you came back. If it's an electric vehicle, make sure the charge is at the same level. Keep this photograph on your phone until you get your credit card bill. That way, if there's a dispute, you have a way to show what the fuel level was and what you should or should not have been charged. Unfortunately, it only takes a few dishonest dealers to spoil it for everyone. Here's a common scam. One of those buy here, pay here type auto places goes to auto auction, buys a whole bunch of vehicles, and then fails to transfer title into their dealership's name. Along comes an innocent, unsuspecting buyer who purchases a car on a payment plan, and just as they're getting close to making that final payment, lo and behold, the shop has closed up and the dealer's gone, nowhere to be found. So basically, this person has a paperweight because once that temporary tag has expired, they can't get a new registration without title. And they can't get title because the person who sold it to them never had it in the first place. Now, if this happens, you actually wind up needing to hire an attorney because your attorney is going to have to sue the state of Florida Department of Highway Safety and Motor Vehicles to get you clear title to that vehicle. So here's how you avoid that. And please bear in mind, the majority of car dealers do not engage in this fraudulent practice. But again, it only takes one. So first of all, check them out on Sunbiz before parting with any money. And make sure that the dealership has both a county and a city license posted somewhere prominently inside the business. That way you'll know that they're actually registered. The easiest way, of course, is to go to one of those large national chain car dealerships because they're not going to engage in that type of practice and they're going to handle the paperwork for you. But there are many reputable smaller dealers who are happy to do that for you as well. The reason that it's important to transfer title, especially if you're buying the vehicle from an individual, is that any unresolved tickets stay with that vehicle. So you may be buying a car from someone you know, but they bought it from somebody else and there's a ticket stuck with it. So you could wind up getting pulled over because there was an accident reported with the vehicle. Now you've got legal problems that weren't even yours, but they're yours now to resolve. Or worse, that vehicle has been listed as being involved in the commission of a crime, and you may have to hire an attorney to show that you weren't involved with that and you're innocent. Who needs that headache? Here's how you avoid it. You may, over the weekend, come to an agreement to buy or sell a car, make an appointment at the DMV, meet the other party there, and transfer the title right there at the DMV. That ends any chance of you being pulled in for an unresolved ticket, having your license suspended for a period of time because of an accident that didn't have anything to do with you, or worse, possibly being brought into court on charges to do with the commission of a crime with this vehicle. It protects everyone. It's worth the extra step. Leasing can be an important tax deduction for a business, and anyone with a small business, or a large one for that matter, should consult with their accountant or their tax preparer to discuss that issue. For most individuals, the cost of a lease is not going to be tax deductible. I know a lot of the car companies promote it as somehow being a wise financial decision and it's going to lower the taxes that you pay, but that's only true in a limited number of circumstances. So again, consult your tax professional. The true cost of a lease is not necessarily what you pay to get into the vehicle. So take a really hard look at the amount of driving you do before choosing a lease. You're not going to save any money if you choose a 12,000 mile a year lease, but you actually drive the car 15,000 miles, because the dealership is going to charge you for every mile that you go over your contracted number of miles. Going under is not a problem. Going over becomes very expensive. So write down a list. How far is your commute from home to work? Do you have hobbies that you regularly travel out of town for? Do you drive for work in addition to the commute? Or are your children involved in activities? Add all those miles up in a week, and then you'll have a better idea of how many miles you'll actually drive in a year. You will not save any money at all on a lease if you're over driving what you contracted. And that's why so many people end up buying the car that they initially thought they were going to lease, because to write a check for several $1,000s for a car they don't keep seems like a waste of money. So the best answer is talk to your tax preparer first. Thanks for joining me, and I appreciate everyone who submitted questions for topics to address.